Welcome to Unfiltered Awareness, a raw and authentic exploration that delves into the realms of consciousness, self awareness, and transformation. Co hosted by Celia Antonio and Lucy Al. Join us as we embark on thought provoking conversation that challenge the norms and expand our understanding. Each episode is an edited conversation where we journey into these topics. We're so grateful you're here. Now let's dive in.
And again, when I say late canceling, it's not like they supposed to show up 45 minutes ago and they're canceling now. I'm thinking more they like like even 15 minutes before the call, they call and like they contact me and they say they cannot make it, because I rather that than them showing up and not being fully 100%, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, like that was my first day of my bleed. I all the shamanic was more like me trying to try new things, because I actually felt quite good today. Maybe because I had a different blend of cacao as well that could help as well. That was very masculine this time, but it was like kind of all of that. But I would never have any problem contacting you and saying I can't. I'm like feeling pooped. I cannot make it,
Yeah. And I
you know,
wouldn't mind either.
and
Yeah.
expect you the same. I will expect from you the same. Like we
Yeah.
did that, like something, oh, let's do this, and no, actually, we didn't see the time. Let's just not do that now.
Yeah.
And that's important to me to be at that level with my client, with people I meet, because this is also again back to people pleasing and a perfectionism, because
Mhm.
when we're supposed to be people pleasing, as oh, I said that so I must, instead of like I said that at that time, that was
Yeah.
good, and now the circumstances I change, so I'm changing again because I want to honor me first, which is everything about power. We talk about
Yeah.
that the last podcast is about power.
Yeah. And sometimes if you're someone who is interested in self-development in the beginning of your journey, which is how it was for me, sometimes that people pleaser can become more solid because one of the first things I learned, it was in a seminar, but then it's also in a book
Hmm.
called The Four Agreements. The first one is honor your word. So like if you say you're going to do
Oh
something, do
yes.
it.
Mm. Yeah.
But also like there's now like with the journey that I've taken to deepen into like divine feminine work, there's also a sense of like, yes, I'm honoring my word, I'm doing what I'm saying, but I'm also surrendering to life. And if I'm not feeling good that day, it's totally okay for me to cancel. I wasn't meant to be on that call. Or like if
Exactly.
you cancel a call with me 10 minutes before, it's totally okay. We weren't meant to do that call today. That means like when you have that sense of surrender, whatever happens in your life, you're like ready to meet it.
Exactly. And I feel like, I like this book though, but like it was talking about like being impeccable with your words. But being impeccable with your words, what I learned, like what I read it, I felt like more like you need to be impeccable with your words for yourself. So like it's the most important, the biggest agreement you have is with yourself. So if today you said yes yesterday and something came up, it's all about honoring your
Mm,
words of
I
saying
love
I
that.
said that in that circumstances at that moment. I was very fine. I was very enthusiastic or whatever. And my circumstances had changed. Like, I'm a mother, so you could say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that," and something your kids get sick or whatever. Like, thank goodness it's spring, so it's getting better. But something like this happen. Let's say you said to someone, "I'm going to meet you," and like 10 minutes before the call, your child start to puke everywhere or whatever. Like you're not going to honor the call.
Yeah. No.
You're going to honor your words of like I said I would, with all the intention of this will happen. I have like circumstances outside of my own control that are forcing me to change that. And it's all
Yeah.
about the power and all about honoring yourself and being impeccable with your words. I feel like, so again, it was coming back to the sorry thing,
Mhm.
the sorry story. It's all about like say thank you, or just like it's like you could say sorry, not going to make it, but it's like actually, and next time you meet the person, you say thank you so much for agreeing to reschedule. I understand that might not have been the best for you, yet this circumstances happen, and you don't have to share. But I like being vulnerable, and we were talking about feminine. I like giving backstories, and not by for justifying my action, but more about I trust you and I want you to be to can feel of who I am as well. So you're going to get a little bit of my in my own life for at least a couple of sentences.
Yeah. Mic drop. I think that's a good spot to end. 'Cause we're
Like
like
we
trying to keep these 20 minutes and it's like been
feel
37
like we
minutes.
could have like again, I'm like thinking when we were 22 something, we had a great cut, so we can just keep going with this one and making a second, like what we just talked, that could be a second episode.
Okay.
What do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I say
I
like
think so.
Celia, blah blah, and I show you the time. Like feel like
Yeah.
this time we could just stop and then we could keep going, and we could just have an intro. It's like this is the second episode of the last episode. So if you didn't catch up, please catch the last one or whatever. What do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one
I
would
think
be
that's
like
good.
15 something minutes. But there is
Yeah.
one thing though that you shared with me about online, that you said you love online networking.
Mm. Yeah.
I personally, when I love going into a room. I love sensing people, but when I go online, a bit more challenging. And again, it's very different of like holding a circle or going into a circle. When it's circle is not about selling, or it's never about selling, but it's like it's not the same way. You don't meet people the same way. 'Cause when you go to networking, a business network, you're connecting for the business side of who you are. But like and networking has been always challenging because maybe it was the last I don't know, like I don't know if you ever heard about BNI, and I'm not shitting them or anything. They are great. I know people that have great business with them. BNI, it's a type of networking which actually people have a 1 minute to talk about their business, and like it's 1 minute and then the next person and then so on and so forth. And I felt like online was like this. I was like, you have 1 minute and you have to talk,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
"Bah," it's kind of like feel like a deer with the headlights in front of you, like you guys like, what am I going to talk about? I usually now I broke a lot of those stories I had in my head. I'm like, you know what, whatever I want to, I come and I just share whatever comes in my head at the time. But I come in full detachment now. Like I used to, I wanted to add another caveat from, being in networking for 10 years. When I started networking, 9 years, I always said to, I always thought you needed to go in the room of with a fish in your hand, thinking when you leave. And again, I'm
Mm.
like, it feels very bro marketingy, so I'm just really want to all say that I learned, I learned from others. So like coming into a room and like not hard selling, but like force, kind of feeling force of like sharing things and like taking, like giving you cards, like would you like to do this, blah blah blah, kind of like very bro-y, can put it this way.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
feeling like when I say about the fish is like leaving the room with maybe a potential of a client and following through with them like
Yeah.
as a client, instead of seeing them as the person of like how can I actually make them a
Mm.
friend of mine so they can refer me. That's But the thing
Yes.
is a lot of people will go networking thinking like that.
I have so many thoughts about this. I just have to pee
Go.
really quick. I put it in the shared notes. I don't know if
I'm
you
not
saw it.
I'm not going to. Oh, I didn't see the
I'll be right
notes. Oh
back.
my god. I didn't see the share notes. My apologies.
Okay.
They didn't show up on mine.
It's okay. Um,
But you had so many thoughts.
yes. So I think this is where, for me and maybe for a lot of empaths, is where the nervousness and anxiety comes from with networking. Is w- it's hard to not feel like a target when you're expecting everyone in there to be selling something to you, and it's like
Hmm.
it almost feels like like everyone here wants to like sell me things or take my money or say that I need, like, most in my experience, from networking events I've gone to, most people aren't actually there to make genuine human connections and friendships. They're just there to sell stuff, which,
They're just there to find fish.
yeah, which I am
Oh,
so shocked that I'm so shocked that I had to come to this realization on my own and that it was never taught to me by any of the business coaches I've hired, is that relationships are the foundation of your business, period. Full
mm,
stop. Any business that you have, it's relationships. Even if you work, a job 9 to 5 and you're not the business owner, you are there because of the relationships you have.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my husband has his current job because he knew someone that worked there. I've gotten
Mm.
jobs in the past because I knew someone that worked there. And with business, it's all about your relationships because I think it's very rare to have business owners that have that genuine like desire to connect. So when you come across people like that, like when I met you remember those people.
Mm.
They have an impact on you because you're like, wow, they were very present, they paid attention, they're very supportive. Like I want to stay in touch with them. And I of course would refer clients to you. Hell yeah. And
Thank you.
but like if you came to me all broy, like I don't want to talk to you. And
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I
Yeah, so
get you. And
I love that you brought that in.
oh yeah, and thank you so much for what you shared and what you I be, you know, I'm always trying to find who I know to connect with other people anyway. I it's funny because when I like even not so long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I used to be said like everyone was saying that I was a very high connector, and now that I've gone to a deeper embodiment and deeper work self development, I'm like, am I really that connected? I knew I used to know a lot of person, but now I'm like I still know them, but I have stripped down a lot of the people I know for not like wrong me not it's not like I don't like them anymore. It's just like I have a certain standard, and I'm not saying they don't have a standard, but it's like I have a standard of people and the conversation I like to have, like with you and
Mm.
other people, and withholding like small talk. I don't mind small talk at some level. Sometimes you do need to get to the small talk that open the gate to the big talk. But it's just all of those kind of things that you have to go through. And yeah, it's interesting to what you shared about that, about like the broy thing. I feel like there is a lot of like things like that. I had I I like I'm more going to like I got invited to many podcasts. I've been talking to many podcasts. And one of the podcasts that was actually was a live thing. So you had like a couple of minutes with the person. And
Mhm.
then I was like, are we going to be in touch? I was like, oh great, we're going to meet to create a conversation together. Great, we're going to connect. And the person like the her assistant whatever came back to me and said, okay, let's schedule a call, no problem, trying to see what it was all about. Like in my head was like I'd love to have a connection with that person, but then she started to talk to me about her membership and blah blah blah,
Oh.
like like feels oh yeah, what you shared with me was so interesting, blah blah. And I was like my whole body was like it feels like a message that you said to everyone, so they
Instead
feel
of a genuine
approved,
conversation.
appraised. So they
Yeah.
feel like, oh my gosh, she loves me really for me. So I'm going to give her my hard-earned money. I don't use the hard word often, but like it's kind of that. So I actually switched the conversation, and I started to be very much not the peaceful, not like I was not going at war with her, but I was a very strong warrior at that time, withheld and actually shifted the conversation with her working with me for me with me, at that level, and dropping that if you want to work with me for a year is six figure. I was like, it was not even a thing that I had on, but it was just like dropping it there. I was like, you know what? This is going nowhere. So it's just me creating my own safety net. And sometimes you need to extend those edges. So I'm going just to say to her because it will probably lead to any no thing and we'll probably never have a conversation ever again. So I can't drop her the six figure, which for now it does not cost that, but I'm just kidding. A little side thing. Um, it's just like, oh, you want to work like, and it's like switching things because she was supposed to be very interested in what I was doing. So I just shifted things,
Yeah.
and she was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's bold to share this on. And I'm like, well, in my head I was like, yeah, you did drop me to just trying to get me into new memberships. So,
Yeah.
and now I'm bold. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, with
there was.
podcasting, there's a lot of like in my opinion, podcasting is supposed to be, when you listen to it, you're supposed to be able to be listening in on a conversation or on someone's thoughts. Um,
Mm.
but I've been on podcasts myself where I never met the person until we're recording. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like so weird that they're like, it's so good to see you. And that they like pretending to be my friend. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like very robotic of like, they're
Mm.
asking me the question that they emailed me before, and it just stays on that, and it doesn't, and I
Yeah.
just don't like that. And I think that goes back to the bro marketing thing. Like people are
Mm.
so they think when we think that business has to be this rigid thing instead of something that supports our life and is an extension of our life and is an extension of our love and an extension of our humanity, then we cut ourselves off from so much like magic and abundance and creativity and connection that we could have, especially as
Yeah.
business owners. Like when you're a business owner, what you do for work takes up maybe a little bit more of your energy than if you're going to a job, clocking in, clocking out, then maybe it's not on your mind. When you own a business, it's kind of always in the back of your mind there. So if it's
Mm.
has that piece where it doesn't have to be so rigid and it's fun, then you actually enjoy it. Then people actually enjoy being in your energy and it doesn't have to be such hard work.
Yeah. I like what you shared. Oh my God, so many. I can see so many threads of that conversation. So, I'd like to actually maybe close it on that what you just shared. And it feels like it's very magical and very interesting of like trying to also for me what I'm really got from the message that you share is like always correct to connect with love and connect with people at that level of love of like more in the divine conversation. You're not expecting them you don't expect they don't expect you to sell to them and you don't expect them to sell to you but more like who are you what do you want because no what do you want like who are you what do you do is there any like type of client you like to work with so at least I actually know who you are like I might not be your client but I want to know who are your type not usually it's not a question you go forward but like it's kind of like it does lingers and you can kind of gather what it with the person but like for me one of my some of my amazing friends come from networking they were I have one of my friend actually living two street down we started networking and like she came to me and was like someone was like hi remember me I was like no I don't and like we just like had like a great like she just came to me like we already talked before and I was like I when I go to networking event I see so many people and sometimes my whole body just black out I can't remember who you were but it had that happened so many times of becoming very close friend to people networking event they came to me with I remember the cover I remember talking to you so bubbly and everything I was like hi I can't remember who you are, but it's so lovely to talk to you. But yeah, it's just like it does come like that. And like my friend that lived two doors down, it was like it was not like I'm going to sell to her. And she's like I was like we became friend. We actually started to have kids close in age as well.
Oh, that's
And
good.
then we moved close together and everything. But we just starting to be very friends and then she started a business she was not in business at the time and then one time she's like oh do you like me I would love to work with you and I was like oh that's interesting but the thing is that the reason why I'd love to for me I will finish with that and then I give you the lead but it's just the thing is like if you go to a room like again protect yourself energetically but also be not there to sell anything try
Yeah.
to connect with your soul and your aura so people remember who you are and then next time you come to see the in the room you might see them again they will remember you not for what you do but who you are and then from that they might actually connect you with other people because they really love who you are and yeah
Yeah.
I think it's as you were saying about relationship it's the
Yeah.
most important thing of like I'm not entering a room of like, who can I have a potential clients? Like, actually, who can I make new deep connection with so I can actually have a new friend I can talk to and rent sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yay.
Yay. Beautiful conversation we're having. I love it so
I
much.
love it. Yeah,
Because
I love
for
it
me,
too.
like I feel like it can be hard to take that perspective of business when everyone around you is telling you not to do that. Like there's a lot of phrases that's like oh, it's not personal, it's business, or like business is cutthroat, or like all these things
Oh,
that make business such a harsh thing,
yeah.
when I don't think it has to be that. I really
No,
don't. I acknowledge that that has worked for a long time for certain people, but that doesn't mean we have to keep doing that.
no.
It doesn't work
And
for
I feel
me.
like
It doesn't feel good to me if I'm like that.
I agree. Yeah. And I feel like it does link to so well with the conversation we had 4 weeks ago, like around pro marketing at some level. It comes back to conscious selling and conscious marketing, conscious business of actually working in more ethically and more about the people that is in front of us than just the money they could bring into the table. You don't see
Yeah.
the person first, you see the person, and the
Yeah.
person have the person in their hands and they decide, but not because they fear of something. They actually feel like, I love you so much and I want to work with you, which is very different than the oh, like, oh my god, I'm going, if I don't get it now, I'm going to lose on something.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
this is so wrong. And I really invite you to go back to the last, I think it's 2 episode or 3 episode down earlier, that we talk about that. We're talking about wholeness. You don't invest in any course or anything if
Mm,
you don't feel whole. If you feel as something is missing, that might be the person. Like we didn't say that in the minute podcast, but I will say that to you with big love. Maybe it's time for you to explore having a therapist, not a coach. And I'm
mm,
not saying that in the wrong way. It's trying to see if there is anything you can deal with first, so you can be in power when you work with a coach and you can meet them at the same level, not you feeling you inferior to them and you need to build up the ladder. Sorry, like that could be another conversation, but the next step, the next level. You don't need to go next level, next step. You just meet the
yeah.
person and you expand yourself. You don't step out of whatever.
Yeah.
Probably another podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up this episode, Celia?
Feel like I'm put on the spot. I just want to say how good you are at like being like, we talked about this in the last episode, and like guiding people to like watch the previous episodes. I see you. It's awesome. It's good.
Thank
It's
you, love.
good.
Thank you. Um, it just comes to my mind that I remember that we talked about that, and sometime I might not talk about that because I can't remember, and I'll probably, the more we are recording, the more I will probably lost track. But I like remember, like I do have like little key words in my head of what we talked about, and I feel like we have a thread at some level. We don't know yet because as we're recording this, we just flow. But I know that at the end of the last season, even though we might not do season, but like when we done finish recording until the winter, I think
Hmm.
we've seen a very big golden thread in all of them that we couldn't even decide. Well, like it's
Yeah.
increased divinely. So I'm like, we'll see. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
I'm excited too. Ooh.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And we would love to encourage you to follow each of us, Celia and myself. You can see in the show notes down below, you can find each other. And if you found anything interesting or something just maybe triggered you, or maybe something that made you laugh, please DM us and love to have a conversation because, as we said, relationships is everything. Have a great one.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Awareness. If you enjoy this episode and you want to support the podcast, you can do so by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. You can follow our podcast YouTube channel, which is linked below. You can also find us individually on Instagram. You can find Lucy at callme.lucy, and you can find Celia at selfexpressedbabe. Both of those are linked in the caption below. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next time.